let us see how this works. Going live,
let
guys.
Let us entertain you.
Yes, let us
drive you wild.
There we are. Hey,
hey,
that looks like us.
Those folks, those people, those weird ones, especially that guy in the Rupert shirt. Who's a Survivor fan? Mike's wearing his Rupert shirt. Yep.
Yeah.
He has dreams and aspirations. We're going to go on Survivor. We're going to go. Dio the Enigma, great to see you. Hi, Mary and Jen, great to see you. We're going to go on the Seasoned People series. Yes. Hi, Diana.
Yeah, if they do Survivor for senior citizens.
Yeah, Survivor for seniors. We're going to go. We're going.
Mary, you like it?
Yeah, it's a good one, Mary. Go. Yeah. Hi, Regina. Great to see you. Glad you guys could make it. This is wonderful. Yay.
So, Mr. MBB caught something really cool, and we're going to take a look at that, as well as a lot of other things. It's been a very interesting day.
It has.
How has your day been, guys? How have you felt? What are you experiencing? Because, man, it seems like people are going through a lot right now.
Yeah, that's kind of a big reason why we're here. We wanted to talk about that. Today is Happy Solstice to everyone. Israel, great to see you. Catch Mini 95, let's go. Yeah, we wanted to bring people on. We have good stuff on the news also, but today's the shortest day of the year. And many people struggle with that seasonal affective disorder, especially if you are a sensitive. So,
yeah, which I am, and I'm trying to get ours to come up here. I'm definitely energy sensitive, and Diana saw the Mr. MBB thing. How many felt it though? I mean, because Cindy picked up interesting stuff immediately. But yeah, let's go over what today is, which after all, it is December 21st. It's the winter solstice. This is the shortest day and the longest night of the year, as the Earth's axial tilt positions in the northern hemisphere farthest away from the sun. And, our summer solstice, we're closest to the sun, actually. Physically, they say. I realize there are those people that are not heliocentric, and that's okay. We won't discriminate. We just agree to disagree, I guess, is what we could do on certain things. Mm-hmm. But distortion is a par for the course, because that's what they do, is distort everything.
They do. So, as far as the other symbology about it, it is a time of darkness, but I want you to relate it to good things like, well, the womb, the void, that's fertile darkness. So, a sacred pause where nothing appears to grow, yet everything is gestating. So we are gestating. That's why they talk about, now is when you want to start your seeds. You want to start your seeds now for the new year and allow those to grow. So it teaches a lot of surrender, rest, and trust in the unseen process. A lot of people are having a tough time, and it's gonna pass. And then a lot of people are going through purges, and some are creating a purge, doing the detoxing themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. I picked up the microphone when Doc said the volume's been low lately. We really haven't seen a lot of complaints from people, and it's always at the exact same level all the time. So there's no variables on this end.
Yeah, it's not that we can control.
No. And then we'll go listen to it yesterday's, and it was the exact same. And we have, again, 6 computers. So yeah. We'll check from multiple sources. But, again, it's just like when you look to the different commercials, those are all personalized. So that's a big question. I mean, how much is Big Brother monitoring you and even affecting things like the equipment in your life? Is that just a crazy thing to think that an individual can be targeted, in one way or another, I don't think it's crazy at all. We just read where they said that they monitor everybody's activity all day, every day. So yeah, I mean, I just think that's par for the course. It's part of the awakening.
Yeah, it's difficult. They're definitely listening to everyone. So no one is special in that regard. You can always just assume that someone's listening, especially if you have one of those devices that that are, deliberately listening, like an Alexa or something like that. And these days most people have some type of an AI that they can say, hey, turn on this music, and it turns on the music. So that's a problem. It's this is where we're at. And there's no good being angry about it or fighting it or anything. It's like we have to integrate. I don't see AI going anywhere. So walking in awareness, we just have to make certain decisions that fit our world to the best of our ability.
So it may be the longest night of the year, but at the same time, from this point outwards, we're going to be getting more light. And, let's look at where we are as far as, the change of the Yugas. And yeah, we just came out of the Kali Yuga. So that's a good thing, because now we're going deeper. Every day is another step deeper into a Bronze Age and away from the Dark Age, which still, has us to a degree in its control. But at the same time, they're losing their control every day too.
Yeah, Doc Dempsey, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's sometimes it is low, and we can always do what we're doing what we can on our end, because we want you guys to to stick around and help us out and stuff. So yeah, we'll keep doing our part. But sometimes it could be if you listen to earbuds or don't listen to earbuds. We had a friend who said that it was different if she had earbuds or no earbuds.
Well, the other reality too is, like, we do regular sessions with clients, energy work, Vedic astrology, biofield tuning, life coaching, whatever it is that they want to cover, we'll cover. And often, there's interference too when we call. Unfortunately, often there's interference, or we'll have to call back and use a different phone. That's why we've developed backups to backups. So, like right now, right here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 different ways of going live if we had to, because we've had to, have backups to the backups.
Yeah, we're getting it figured out. We are.
Yeah, absolutely. Silver for the win. Yeah, I saw silver keeps going up. Diana says, silver bells, get your silver now. Yeah, it's like, what's it going to go to? I wouldn't be surprised if it goes tenfold. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes 100-fold. But at the same time, I would be surprised if there's nothing economically that falls apart, because we know this is all about the turning of the economic systems. It's been telegraphed for a long time. And, I think it's just par for the course, and it's part of the season that we're in. But let's be excited, because, we're still here. And what you're looking at right there is the Sage Wall. This is up in Montana. It's the Sage Wall, what's the history of the Sage Wall? We don't know. That's just the bottom line. It's a wall up in Montana that was built by somebody probably going back to pre-Younger Dryas extinction events. So yeah, it probably saw more advanced civilization than what it's looking at now.
I think there's so much right here in the United States. I don't think you really need to go anywhere to see anything. I think the surprise is right under our feet. Just want to say a quick hello to Kay Henry. Good to see you, Hioka Seeds. And why, thank you, Miss Mary. I appreciate that. I like red.
I like anything and everything on her, but I'm partial. I'm definitely a little partial. Here you have, obviously, Stonehenge and thousands of people cheering as the sun rises on the winter solstice. We've been through so many ups and downs as a race, as a species. And we don't even know our complete history. Think about that. Truly, we are beings that have had amnesia. And then we've been giving a history that the more we go deep diving into it, the more we realize that history was just a story. Just a story.
Yeah, just a story, and we're learning more and more and more as time goes on. So, it's been an interesting ride, and I think we're going to find out a lot of secrets is what I keep getting, what keeps coming to me when it comes to 2026. A lot going on.
Oh, this is going to be an enormous year. 2025 again was a year that they put out so many different target dates, things to target for this particular time. And then, of course, we're going towards 2030 and David's channel Adapt 2030, because there was an agenda 2030. There was an agenda 21. It goes on and on. But at the same time, man, and I didn't pull anything up specifically about it, but if you look at all the groupings of people around the world in support of average people, and in particular in support of a lot of farmers that have been going through a lot of crap, you could see that the system is on its last legs. It really is. It's kind of falling apart. Some people have a disorder, what's been labeled as seasonal affective disorder. It's a type of depression that follows a seasonal pattern, typically beginning in late fall or early winter, and remitting in the spring or summer, though some individuals experience symptoms during spring or summer months. Again, it is classified as a major depressive disorder or a bipolar disorder with a seasonal pattern. It has to do perhaps with the sunlight exposure, the lack of sunlight, interrupted sleep. It boils down to the fact that it may have all to do with your pineal gland. Serotonin, melatonin production changing due to levels in sunlight exposure.
Yep, and our pineal gland, that taps into so many other realms too. Very important to have it functioning to the best of your ability, and they've gotten it all gummed up and all kinds of problems. So this is a really tough time, and it's why we're here. And stick around toward the end, because we are going to be doing a little bit of balancing, help people out. I'm probably gonna sage. So if you see any smoke, I'm saging. So that's okay too, because that really seems to help people when they fall in that dark mood. But I want you to keep in mind, just keep that in the back of your head. This is a gestation time. This is a time when, we are just sort of undercover. We're waiting for the light to come, and then we're really going to grow. A great time to write some things down, to manifest, to say your prayers and your thank yous for the upcoming year, to start a new habit. Why wait all the way till January? Now is the time, I think, when we're at the solstice.
So KK says once she started giving herself permission to hibernate and she upped her vitamin D, then she got control of the symptoms. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Vitamin D, where you get it from. Again, the sun is so important to us. Obviously, no sun, no life. At the same time, there are things we can do. 5-HTP, it helped me when I moved from Florida up to Ohio, and that was on November 1st. And it was just brutal getting used to Ohio, which I loved the area and the people. But just the lack of sunshine and the cold weather and the grayness, it could definitely make you depressed. So, you could do a lot of things, even, again, taking in some artificial lights. If you can't get the sun, there's definitely red light therapy that could help too.
Red light therapy is really, really good. I did find a red light through Forefront Health. We don't work with them or anything, but that's where I got mine, and I really like it. It's just a little light. It's well made. It does a good job. You can put it over your third eye before bed, and it can help you create that melatonin that you need before you sleep. But there's so many symptoms that come along with this, like oversleeping, fatigue, the sadness, and then insomnia, decreased appetite, weight loss, agitation or anxiety. It's just, it says that it could be more prevalent in women. I haven't noticed that. I see it in everybody. I don't see more women, men, nothing, everyone. It seems like it affects everyone. But the one thing I have seen is it does seem to affect people who are sensitive more.
So today is also a day to put out your intentions and to put out, obviously we all want to manifest peace and happiness and freedom for humanity. We all want to put out the intention that mankind is free from, again, this dark matrix that has taken advantage of us for so long. You were talking about setting the clocks back too, and that was Renee Matthews. That's why they love to change the clocks, make it darker earlier than it needs to be. Yeah, we were just watching something, and I've seen this clock before. I believe it's in the Czech Republic, but there's also ancient clocks that were in Moscow that were showing two different times, and even based on two different systems. And I had never heard until today of a 17-hour clock cycle system. I had never heard of that. But apparently it was something that was in, Russia, maybe some of the Slavic nations. It makes me wonder if it was something that was in effect in Tartary. John Levy, he did a fun video today too. Again, uncovering a lot of our history. And there's more and more channels out there that are doing these deep dives. And the more that we uncover, it seems that we find that there's more and more still to uncover. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I recognize that there's these big cycles of 12,000 years, but I think that's the beginning, obvious part. There's cycles that happen way, way more often than that. And perhaps, there was a massive reset that took maybe 100, 200 years to progress through, but literally transpired between like 1700 and maybe 1850, something of that sort. There's so much that really, again, is just starting to get uncovered. So this is Michael Bradbury, Mr. MBB 333. This is saying a massive 3,000-mile radar anomaly. In effect, maybe it really stretches around the entirety of the Earth. Long, narrow pulses stretch 3,000 plus miles across radar, perfectly straight, not behaving like weather. He's watched radar 20 plus years. We've been watching a long time too. Never seen this. No storms, no typical pattern. I think this goes to, how much control does the control system have? And this is where I got into trouble with the power structure that is when I started to look more at the technology and less at the natural cycles, because I think there's a lot of technology out there in play. Elantra, so good to see you. Thank you so much. Seasons greetings, love and positivity. Thank you so much for all your support.
And we appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's so great to see all you guys and all these familiar, beautiful faces and names. So this is the video, and as you see, as he scanned out, it went right through Shreveport and, the Texas area, actually very close to where we used to live. It cuts right through about the 32nd degree parallel. Somebody had made mention, maybe this is the 33rd degree parallel north. It's actually maybe a little bit below that, more like the 32nd parallel. But as you can see here, it went all the way out, past Los Angeles, through Texas, through New Mexico, Arizona. Yeah, it's some sort of glitch. Well, I would have thought some sort of glitch, but the interesting thing, as you see it, it's right below Hilton Head Island, and I was blessed to live on Hilton Head for 18 months, and what a beautiful paradise that is. We have so many beautiful places in this country, and then there's so many beautiful places around the world that we haven't even looked at. There you go. So, yeah, I would say 32, maybe venturing up as close as 33rd. But what is this? And you see, it goes right by Savannah, Georgia. Cindy picked up that this was actually energy. It literally is an energy.
Yeah, it's a little troubling. I picked up it's not a good energy. It's a little concerning. Like if someone were already having a difficult day, this might make it a little more difficult on them. And people do not need that right now. And I really feel, I've felt this before, already having a bad day, and then have certain people, around the states contact me saying, hey, is, something going on here? What's going on? And well, they happen to be, kind of in a same general area. So, just whatever you're doing, if you go into like a difficult place in your mind, just let it purge, hang in there, do the things that you need to do to help yourself. Make sure you're not hungry, make sure you're not angry, lonely, tired. You guys know that HALT, hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Check all of those things and, call a friend, watch something funny on YT, look at funny animals. You don't have to just sit with it. You can actively work on getting up and out of it. In fact, that's what I recommend. As long, if you can't find any one thing, like why am I feeling this way, then that's a time it's not going to help a lot to sit and process something if you don't really, really, really know what's going on, especially if it's going to bring you down a little bit further. So, whatever that emotion is, if you can sit with it, great, sit with it. But if it's not yours, start finding ways to move up.
Yeah, as you see, it goes all the way through the whole southern portion of the United States. And, as Diana said, again, it tells you about how much power they really have. Just think about fish in a fish tank. To fish in a fish tank, that's their entire world. There can't be anything beyond that, can there? It's almost like we're in the fish tank and somebody's watching us. And somebody could adjust the thermostat. Somebody could change the wind flow and direction. Maybe somebody can manipulate the poles. We did recently, again, talk about that black box anomaly up at the North Pole. And the fact that it's magnetic, it's in maps up to a certain time point, and then it's kind of gone, just a relic. But what if there is, alien technology that literally can mimic a pole shift? Is that how the poles really did shift? Is it not a natural process? Maybe there is a natural process, but these things are triggered in an unnatural way more often than they would have to occur.
I think there's a high degree of natural energy going through the world. And when it comes to these other frequencies that might throw you off a little bit, I think those are less, but they're still there. And I think we need to recognize them and know that they're there. And not everything that you feel in your mind, body, soul, spirit is yours. So you don't need to sit with it.
No, and Renee says move, get up and dance, shake the body. We exercise every day pretty much. It's just also to increase the endorphins, keep you feeling in a positive mood. Because you could feel it. There is energy manipulation. There is frequency manipulation. It's very real, and it's ongoing. I do think when you look at something like this is probably some sort of test to see how much we could be manipulated by certain frequencies. That's kind of what I feel.
I think they're good enough now where they could put out a pulse like this and then check across the board what that social media is talking about to see if there's some type of buzz in the area. So I don't, put it past. Could it be a test? Absolutely. Do they have a way to check the results? Absolutely. Have they done this to us in the past? That's your answer.
Absolutely. Yeah. And in the not too distant past. You see here, California faces fuel disaster as refineries and gas stations shut down. And I don't know, are these real prices now, currently? I know we got some of you guys in California. Are you really paying that much for gas? When we went to Vegas, I think I paid $4.59 about 6 weeks ago or something like that. Here locally, I think we're $2.39, something like that. New Mexico wasn't bad. Arizona picked up a little bit, but it still wasn't horrible. Just in the Vegas area, it got really bad, but California tends to be the highest.
Yes, and someone needs positive energy for their dog. Yes, hang out. Definitely hang out to the end, and we're going to be running that positive energy, and then anyone else in the chat who wants to do that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We'll send positive vibes out there. 211 in Texas, that's great. Yeah, Texas was the lowest that I saw overall. But, there's surveys out there that say that Governor Newsom would literally win the next presidency. Does anybody really think so? I mean, we understand the puppetry involved. How could anybody in their right mind, think that things have been going the right way? Certainly in the EU or in California, really anywhere. There's a lot still unraveling. There's, as far as, the legitimacy of the disclosure process. I mean, it's all been disclosed. The only thing they haven't rolled out yet is the live ETs for you to see, or maybe we should say UTs, ultra-terrestrial. Maybe they'll be inner Earth beings. Maybe they'll have somebody come and morph in and morph out interdimensionally. Time will tell. I think it's going to be a very interesting process, though. But James Fox, who was a filmmaker on Jesse Michaels' podcast, the neurosurgeon who had 4 minutes of face-to-face telepathic contact with a living alien from the 1996 Varginha crash. It's like Brazil's equivalent of Roswell, but actually much more documented, more witnesses, and much more recent. This is the guy that saw the being, and he swears that it was a non-human being and was able to communicate with him telepathically. Well, this is what we think is the normal mode of communication out there in our universe. It's telepathic. They've turned our pineal glands off. Some humans have an operating pineal glands, but not all. Probably not even the majority at this point in time, because they've turned them off. This is why we've had the fluoride all these years. This is why they've done all the things they do. That's the thing they fear the most, is us becoming fully operational and functional.
Yeah, no, they don't want that. And it's kind of happening anyway. You can see people more and more and more often, think of someone and then that someone texts you. I mean, I see that a lot, and I see it increasing, and it's going to too. So our psychic abilities, whether or not they mess with that pineal gland, the human energy field has other ways of communicating. So we will be working around that.
Yes, absolutely. And this is how we've personally seen beings. Like when we were out in the Nevada desert and we were camping in our 19-foot camper, which is in the front yard right now, there was a couple of times that we encountered entities. That was when we were in a semi-dream state and we could see them. So I would say that if somebody was like right there on the property with us, maybe they would have seen an orb or just some sort of light, I'm guessing. Now I saw them as, really odd looking creatures. Actually, there was two of what looked just like Rudolf Steiner's Ahriman. He did a painting and I think a statue. I'll see if I could find it. This is exactly what they look like. And there was two of them. And they were actually like out by the front of the trailer. And it just hit me right away that this is what Rudolf Steiner said Ahriman looked like. So this must be the Ahriman type of being. And yeah, this is exactly what they look like. And there was two of them, just in a kind of a meditative type state, right out in front of the camper. And that was freaky. I think I was only looking at them. I know I was only looking at them astrally. I don't think that they would have been solid physical if Cindy and I were to get up and look out. I was using the pineal gland to see what was in our proximity because I could sense their energy. But they look exactly like this. So very, very humanoid, almost kind of hits me like an old school vampire type of look.
Yeah, they're, these things that we're going to be seeing a lot of this, and a lot of people are going to, discover their ability to see what's out there, to see with their third eye, to see those other beings. And it's really, you don't have to let it affect you. And if it's affecting you, it's probably a good idea just to leave it alone until you're at a point where it doesn't affect you.
No, because again, when they detected that they were noticed, they disappeared. They went away. So, this is going to probably be what happens for most people most of the time. If a being, is appearing and trying to show itself to you, if it senses that you don't want to see it, it'll probably leave you alone. Because I think most of the beings out there are like that. They don't want to terrorize people. There are some that do, obviously, feed off of creating luge.
Right. There are some that do. So keep that in mind.
There's so much in the sky. We were showing the debris from that Starlink satellite. Remember, that was last January. So now they say that, like 3 planes were within range where they could have been hit by this. And when you think about all the satellites that are up in space, there's a ton of them up there. There's a ton of them in low Earth orbit.
Thank you so much, Keith, and Merry Christmas to you too. Thank you.
Good to see you, Keith. Always a pleasure, brother. Thank you so much for your support. You've been with us many, many years too. I hope everybody is doing good over in Rhode Island.
Indeed, I hope you're doing well. I hope you get in touch soon, Keith.
So when you look at this, and it's not just John Levy, there's so many other people too that are pointing this out. Why do we see these photographs of these cities, again, almost completely empty, like ghost towns? And it's not always in a place that has been through a war. A lot of times they'll say, it's like Chicago after the Chicago fire, or maybe it's Seattle after the Seattle fire, or maybe it's San Francisco after the big earthquake. But, again, it feels very odd. It feels like they're constantly recycling a portion of the population. Are they constantly trying to downgrade the DNA of the humans that they obviously need on the planet to make them more controllable? Is it a constant downgrading process?
I think it is, and just what I've seen so often is, a lot of people showing these buildings, and they show the information that's out there on the internet, and Wikipedia can just, anyone can write on Wikipedia, but there are other platforms out there that hold this information, yet it's not accurate. You can look back and see that some of these buildings, that would be impossible to make some of these buildings in a 40-year period when a town is just barely starting to bloom and they only have horses and buggy, and they're building buildings like this that you see on the screen in a matter of years. We don't even have the ability to build that now, let alone then. And then everyone that's in power is sitting there with a straight face and not asking any questions. We're the ones asking the questions. They have not gotten to a point where they really feel like answering it, nor do they have to. So I guess it's that arrogance that bothers me. It's like they can get away with that.
And obviously, this is D.C. This is the capital. And, it does look like it's muddy. It looks like there's been major flooding or what have you. And we think about the East Wing is getting redone. So they're tearing down an East Wing that was only like 100 years old or so. And now putting something much bigger and newer. It's very symbolic. It's always about the symbolism. But the reality is the control system that's in place now is not the natural order. No. It's not. These are imposters. And that's what more people are waking up to.
It's funny. We had like 130 in chat, and as soon as you said that, this bunch dropped. But anyway, that's what they do. There's been a lot of interference, I hear. I did for those sensitive topics, I did a video earlier over on HeartSome. And it was all about women and the changes that we go through and honoring that spiritual change that no one wants to talk about. Menopause is now something that women cringe. It's like, oh my gosh, I don't want to go through that. We should really be embracing that. So I talked about that in the spiritual sense, like what happens to our physical body. Our energy body, when we go through menopause, we have a huge change, and I covered all of that. And I think it should be daily conversation. I think there should be talked about a lot what happens to our energy bodies when we go through menopause, because it's only us and a handful of actual whales in the ocean. They go through menopause, but no other mammal does. So this is like a really beautiful design for creation to help strengthen the lineage.
Well, Maui Mixer, we'd love to see Maui. It's always kind of felt out of reach getting to to Hawaii. It's so far away, very, very beautiful. Definitely a vestige of Mu and all the wonders that was. You're talking about static type of electrical type of sounds and crackling. I do equate that with portals opening, wouldn't you? Because it seems like I've heard that from more and more people lately, that they're hearing that type of thing. I'm noticing a lot of it sounds like ground quakes. It's like it's rumbling, it's movement. Could very well be from the sky as well as from the earth, but I always look and we never have any quakes near us, but it feels like that. It reminds me of being out in Nevada where we do have quakes all the time.
Yeah, it's definitely, things are changing out there.
Yeah, absolutely. It seriously is changing. This picture everything about it feels wrong, doesn't it? The horse, the trolley car, a few people just looking at this place that's built for giants. How about this, too? When you realize, like, around the globe, there are some areas, like we have the big redwood trees in California, but that's a rarity. It's a rarity. Look at this photo. These kids, this is, from, like, 1900. This photo was taken around 1920, okay? Early 1900s, one of the most important trees in the eastern U.S., the American chestnut tree, again, it's fruiting, was wiped out almost completely. It was everywhere across Appalachia. People built homes and barns from it, ate its nuts, and relied on it like no other tree. By the time the photo of the Shelton family was taken around 1920, they were standing next to a dead giant one of the last of its kind. The killer, a foreign fungus called Cryptophaneria parasitica that showed up in New York in 1904. The chestnut had no natural defense against it. The fungus spread fast, 50 miles a year, until it had infected nearly every tree. By 1950s, about 4 billion American chestnuts were gone. Even before that, another disease had already been hurting chestnuts in southern areas. Tree was being attacked from all sides. Today, oaks and hickories fill the gap, but none have the same impact. The chestnut's death wasn't just an environmental loss, it changed the culture and the ecosystem. Yeah, look at the size of that. That's like a redwood. I've never seen anything like that east of the Mississippi. The biggest one I've ever seen is in, I think it's either St. John's Island or St. Charles Island. It's in South Carolina. It's a giant angel oak that's enormous. The base is not quite this big, but it's pretty close. And even those are relatively rare. This is a fruiting tree, though. So when you look closely at this, I think, again, what the system does is they kill that which can sustain us. It's because they don't want us being self-sufficient. They want us to depend on the system.
Yeah, and if we had all these trees that were giving off all of this really good food that would sustain us through season after season after season, well, that's a problem now, isn't it? They just can't go on allowing us to survive. No, that's not how they work. So it's just this world we live in. It definitely frustrates me, but I detach from that frustration quite a lot, quite often, because it's not serving my body any good. And I'm here to help those who want help and to guide those who want guidance. And I can't really do that if I'm angry. So it did take me a minute to disconnect, but I lopped off all media for a long time, maybe a while. And then after a while, I let it come back and it doesn't affect me the same way anymore. So I think everyone goes through that a little bit.
This tree reminds me of Lord of the Rings. You almost feel like it's going to talk to you, right? Like it's going to start telling you the stories from 2,000 years ago. So this is that angel oak I was telling you about. I've gone there and felt it and felt its energy. That's the first thing I did, was feel its energy. It's just this amazing ancient entity that can tell us so many stories. Some say this was probably around the time of Yeshua. But when was the time of Yeshua really? Maybe it wasn't that long ago. Maybe it was only like 500 years ago. Maybe it was 1,000 years ago. Or, I don't know. It's probably not exactly what they say, though.
No, probably not. There's just so many things are upside down. We live in an upside down world, and thank goodness that's really catching on quite a lot.
There's a lot catching on. And it's just amazing. Again, the reason why this fungus came about was, I'm sure, profitability for some corporation, ultimately. Profitability for some corporation. This is a really interesting representation, because we might think, like, if you've been following the Comet Atlas thing, 3-Eye Atlas, well, they talk about these interplanetary objects that come in relation to the ecliptic. Because, we might think of it like we're all going in a nice flat plane, a flat orbit around the sun. But the reality is there's a lot of other things out there. So besides a disk of planets, there's many other different bodies out there, many things in the Oort cloud, different types of comets. Of course, there's tons of ships out there and extraterrestrial beings as well. But it's interesting that you could actually look at all the objects that are in our quote-unquote solar system, and then it does become spherical again. So you keep going back and forth between that, is it flat or is it a sphere? Is it flat or is it a sphere? I think it's relative to your perspective.
And I think it's, as long as people are arguing over it, well, that's all the controllers want. They just want people angry at each other because one's not listening to the other. But sometimes when people debate, they can get so angry that they're not even able to see the other person's perspective. So I think, oh my gosh, what do you call this? I'm looking at this cake.
That looks perfect.
I
call it perfect.
I want 2 pieces.
Oh,
no.
If that's like a nice caramel drizzle.
Oh my gosh. Now Mike is going to have to go to work after work.
Well, we've eaten so well, and we've actually, I think we're screwing around with physics ourselves, because our weight is staying the same. We've cut way back to where we eat just basically one solid food meal a day and then one protein shake earlier. And that's it. And we exercise every single day. And, we're not losing weight. We're just steady. I don't think it's simple calories in, calories out anymore. I don't think it's I think all the laws that we had during Kali Yuga don't apply anymore. I think things are changing, but this is always going to be good.
Well, the amount of calories, we were eating a couple of months ago, I mean, we're probably down at least 1,000 calories a day, and we're just staying the same. So I think it's quite fascinating. I think we're healthier for it too. I really, really do. And before, the food, I mean, this helps us financially too. It's something that's good for the body. It's helping us financially. We really have to be mindful of how we treat our temple. And I just think this is an overall good thing to do. I'm just still kind of baffled at like, wow, how is our weight staying stable? But we exercise every day. We're pretty good that way. Maybe it's the exercise. I don't know. You would think we would have dropped a little weight, but we didn't.
No, but I think too it's that balance, because I know we've added muscle. So, maybe we did drop a little bit of fat, but we also added some muscle. And you know what? When you work out hard and you stay on an exercise routine, then you get to have a little flan. It's okay.
Yes, it's flan. So we're going to be looking up recipes, and I don't know if I have all the things that I need. And I just love this little guy, and gosh, I love that cartoon too. It was so cute.
And I really wonder what's in there these days. I mean, is is that a little bot? Or is it a little person? Is it a dog somehow? I mean, I don't see 4 legs. Olaf on a little walk. Yeah, he is absolutely adorable. Oh, so cute. And then you have this, rare and majestic. Look at the white moose. Oh man, what a beautiful rack.
It's pretty. So are we done?
Yeah.
Okay, here.
Okay, so Cindy's gonna do her thing. She's got her tools out.
Okay, so you guys know what to do. Think a happy thought, and here we go. Thanks, you guys. Thank you so much for all of your support. Source bless and namaste.
Loka samasta sukhi no bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be happy and free. And may my thoughts, actions, and deeds contribute to that happiness and freedom. As always, guys, we couldn't do it without you guys, and we love you dearly. It's great to see you as always. Namaste.
Namaste.